Good evening, welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the programme tonight. It's the opposition versus the government on the ceremony to open India's new parliament on Sunday. While some opposition parties are now with the government and have agreed to attend the ceremony, others, including the Congress, have flatly refused. These opposition leaders in a letter have said that their refusal to attend is linked to the Prime Minister's decision to inaugurate the parliament himself instead of calling the president, which they have termed as a direct assault on our democracy. The BJP is clear in its response. Quit the hate against Narendra Modi, they say, stating that the Congress has double standards on the issue. Well, joining us now, Dr. Rajdeep Roy, Lok Sabha MP of the BJP. We're also joined by Salman Soz of the Congress Party, Sushmita Deb of the AITC, Ayodhya Rami Reddy, the Rajya Sabha YSR MP, and in a little while we'll be joined by Mr. Surya Prakash, who's Vice Chairperson of the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library and has a real role and view on the creation of the new parliament and the reason it's all been done. But let me come to Salman first. I think the question that's being asked by the BJP is, isn't parliament and all that it stands for bigger than who inaugurates it?
Thank you, Vishnu, for having me. And of course, Parliament House has been built, and it is bigger than pretty much the man who's at the center of this, despite the fact that I feel that sometimes the BJP makes it all about one man. I think, Vishnu, I think it bears repeating. We've been saying this for some time, and I think your audience should also hear this very clearly, that the Constitution of India is very clear. There's Article 79, which basically says that there shall be a parliament for the union, which shall consist of the president and two houses to be known respectively as the Council of States and the House of People. The president is an integral part of parliament. The president summons parliament. There can be no law in this country without the president signing off on that law. It's basically, think of it as you're building a home and you're not inviting the head of the household for the foundation stone laying ceremony or the inauguration of the house. Who are you building this house for? You're building a temple of democracy, but the chief priest is away.
You're building it for the
1.4
billion
exactly.
Indians.
If you're if you're building it for all of us, should the head of the household not be invited? Should the temple's chief priest not be invited? What is the harm? I want to ask the Prime Minister through your television channel. Why is the President of India not invited for such a momentous occasion? Why is the Vice President of India and the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha not invited for this momentous occasion? This is not the Lok Sabha. This is Parliament House. So I think it would be wrong. By the way, just to let everybody know, the Congress Party and other opposition parties had no problem in attending this event. If the president was coming, if the president was invited in a dignified manner.
I get your point. Let me get a reply.
This, when you have the first, by the way, when you have the first scheduled tribe woman president of India.
So you wanted the president
this is an indignity. This is an indignity.
I take your point. Let's get a reply. Rajdeep Roy, Dr. Roy, would you like to reply to that? Why not have the president and vice president?
My regards and greetings to all the viewers on your channel. I would remind my friend of the Congress and take him back to 2014 to Jharkhand, when the governor of Jharkhand was also a part of the state assembly where the foundation stone was laid. And I presume the governor of Jharkhand was also the head of the Jharkhand state. Why was he not invited? I will take you to 2018 to Andhra Pradesh Assembly Foundation. Why was he not invited? Why was the governor? He was similarly the head of the state. In 2020, Chhattisgarh Assembly, where Mrs. Sonia Gandhi came to lay the foundation stone, where was the governor then? Why was the governor not invited? Was he not the head of the state? In 2023 in Telangana Assembly, was governor the part of the state? Was he not? So the argument put forward by Mr. Soz does not hold water. What the Congress is trying to do is that they have shown their intolerant attitude towards each and everything that Prime Minister Modi is doing for the last 9 years. Today we are at the doorstep of another election, and it is almost sure that Mr. Narendra Modi will get a thumping majority in the 2024 election. Okay. So it is all fixed that I believe is creeping into the mindset of Congress and its policies. Okay. I request, still there is 36 hours of time. Still, I think Congress.
No, I think you've raised some important points. Let me get Salman to respond to that. I think he's given 4 examples: Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and one other, where the Congress was involved directly without the government being involved.
And the one that you didn't mention was Jharkhand. I'm so happy that Jharkhand was mentioned. Just yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday, that the President of India was invited to inaugurate the High Court building in Jharkhand. And who was there? The Chief Justice of India was there. I think that's a dignified thing. This Parliament building is a new building after almost a century.
No, Salman, you're not answering the question, I'm afraid.
Let me
Salman,
just say
he's raised examples. Talk about Chhattisgarh.
No,
Why is it that Sonia Gandhi was there for the inauguration of the Chhattisgarh Assembly? And you're complaining now about Parliament and the PM doing it.
Vishnu, I'm giving you, the thing is that I'm not interested in BJP's whataboutery. That is what BJP should be ashamed of raising such issues. There is a pattern here that I want to bring to the viewers' attention
to something else.
Please do not interrupt me. You're a Lok Sabha MP. You should please be dignified. This Prime Minister has a history of making everything about himself. Let me ask you, who inaugurated the National War Memorial? Was it the Supreme Commander of India's Defence Forces, or was it Prime Minister Modi? Why was President Kovind not invited to that? At least that's the National War Memorial. Why is the Supreme Commander not invited to that? Why is the President of India not invited to the Parliament's inauguration? It defies logic.
Well, what is the harm? Is Prime Minister a non-constitutional post? Is Prime Minister not elected by the government?
He is basically the prime event manager, and we will
both of you, I think both of you wait. I think both of you wait for a moment. Let me just get the other perspectives in as well. Sushmita, why do you believe that, or what do you believe is more significant over here? Is it just the issue of why the President is going to be absent, Vice President is going to be absent? Because in your letter, you have written, and you've signed on to this letter, you've spoken about a grave insult, a direct assault on our democracy, right? And you've spoken about undignified acts. You've spoken about no debate. So it's more than just inauguration, right? And who attends?
See, Parliament, the Parliament of India is, it's not some ordinary structure which you make out of cement and mud. You see, anybody who understands parliamentary democracy and looks at these last 9 years of the Modi government, I think it has desecrated parliamentary democracy. You are not allowed to debate Adani. You are not allowed to debate price rise. You are not allowed to question the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister hardly comes to Parliament. So it is a plethora of things. Remember that while this Parliament, the new Parliament is being built, you may say it's a great moment for a nation. But if the very essence of the democracy is being murdered by the Bharatiya Janata Party, then to our mind, this is nothing but a PR exercise. And for the Prime Minister to, be in the limelight. I want to help Salman Soz out here. I would like the BJP spokesperson to categorically tell your viewers that not inviting the President of India is absolutely all right with them. They think they are right. And they should also say that they cannot say that because the Congress didn't invite the governor in Andhra and Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, so we are not going to invite the President of India. If that is the argument
Sushmita,
of the
I think the point is one of double standards.
See, Vishnu, let me tell you something. It is very simple. Today, let the BJP give a plausible explanation why they are not inviting the President of India. Just tell us that it's not necessary.
I think we don't as much as that is a valid question, there have to be questions which have to be asked about the double standards of the Congress in this case. If it's okay for Sonia Gandhi to inaugurate the assembly in Chhattisgarh, right, in the absence of the governor, then why is it not okay for the Prime Minister to inaugurate this in the absence of the President? I'm not saying this is my view at all. I'm only suggesting that this is what has been argued. So therefore, if you take the moral higher ground and you make the argument, or Salman makes the argument that he's making, then he has to back it with facts on what the Congress has done elsewhere.
Vishnu, you have watched Indian Parliament functioning for, I think, at least a decade or so.
30 years.
And
but go
please
ahead.
tell me, so please tell me that you don't see the difference between how it is to be run before. Bill after bill is passed. There are no debates. Standing committees have been rendered.
Okay, Sushmita, I get the point. I'll ask Dr. Roy to reply. Dr. Roy, go ahead. Dr. Roy, go ahead. Yes.
In the last 4 years, since I have become a member in 2019, I have seen most of the bills being passed through debates, deliberation, and all the opposition party MPs actively participated. And there were occasions when the Parliament ticked on to almost midnight on many an occasion, and it told us that almost 100% or even more than 100% of the time were utilized in the Parliament. Coming back to what AITC spokesman said, I would really like to, her answer should be on the point. Now, you cannot have two set of rules for two different parties and one similar circumstance being prevailing in both the situation. Now, your governor is not invited for a state assembly foundation or inauguration. And you are raising the same question for the parliament inauguration with the prime minister. Is he not a constitutional post? Is he not a constitution? It is just trying to, put a question mark on the activity or the achievements of the government. Now, initially you said this is a 20,000 crore project. Now, when it has come to light, this is only 930 crores and work has been completed in a record time. You are now basically, without finding any cause, you are trying to point fingers and you basically are absolutely intolerant towards the achievement of the government.
I'll try and get a response in a while, but I also want to go across to Mr. Reddy Rajya Sabha, MP of the YSR CP. Sir, why has your party agreed to attend the inauguration ceremony?
Thank you, Vishnu. First of all, we are very proud and very happy to say that our country, which is now heading into Amrit Kaal, is constructing this temple, which is, which we believe in democracy. It is, it is the temple for us. So, such a great temple, is it really needed today? First, let us look at that. If you look at for any civil engineering building, if you look at 100 years, is the life of that building. It was built by somebody with some requirements, but today, when we look at, this building is not in a right shape and right position to really accommodate for a real debate and discussion, and lot of issues are really bothering. Having said that, so we wanted to say that there is a real need of this building to be in place after 100 years. Safety also one of the most important. Second point, this government has realized that there is a real need of implementing this building a new house for all of us, and Prime Minister Modi has really put himself, as we understand, from day one on concept till commissioning of this phase. Every level he has involved himself personally, not alone on the design engineering concept and also on the construction, even supervision. So personal engagement and everything happened. Second. Third point, we believe that all of us Indians, for us, this temple is a national asset. We may have differences among any of us on any other thing, but this temple is going to be inaugurated and we must feel proud of building it for next 25 years. And when we are entering into Amrit Kaal, we have to do a lot of good things, and for that actually this is going to be a very, very important from government, we have to really give that direction and to the rest of the institutions. So I believe, that it is a real requirement, and that's the reason we are here. And our Chief Minister also has Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy very clearly told that we respect the decision and also this important occasion.
Okay, all right. So I get your point. Salman, I just want to read out what the BJD has said, and I'm just trying to understand why this perspective is something the Congress doesn't necessarily agree with. The BJD in a letter has said, the BJD believes that these constitutional institutions should be above any issue that may affect their sanctity and honor. Such issues can always be discussed in the August House. So, you could discuss it, you can debate anything that you want, just be there for it. I mean, why shouldn't the Congress party, which has played such an important role in our history, be present for such a momentous occasion? Or all of the other parties who are not attending?
Everybody should be very clear about one thing. The Congress party, and I'm sure all the other opposition parties that have decided to boycott this particular event, will be there to speak about the issues that are very important to the people of India. But let me just say this to Mr. Naveen Patnaik and anybody else who thinks like this about, this is an August House where there should be debates and other things. There are no debates in this August House. When you asked about Chinese occupation of Indian territory, they call you anti-national. When you talk about inflation, they say we don't eat piyaz. When you talk about jobs, they say pakode talo. Remember, this is the same government that basically arrested the entire political leadership of Jammu and Kashmir. What democracy are they talking about? Between 2004 and 2014, almost 70% of legislation went to select committees. Under this government, and our friend from the BJP is relatively new in the Lok Sabha, only 25% of the bills have gone to select committees. There is no debate. So when the soul of democracy is in some ways being sucked out, you want us to dignify an insult to the President of India? We tell now, through your channel, I'm requesting the Prime Minister to please invite the President of India with great humility. Please invite the Vice President and Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, and then all opposition parties will be there. You inaugurated, but at least invite them. Why aren't you inviting them?
All right, Dr. Roy, would you like to reply?
She's the head of the household.
Why not invite the President?
Look, I would like to answer, take each and every issue that Mr. Soz has raised. He has said that we did not discuss China issue. China is basically a no discussion zone since the days of Pranab Mukherjee in 2008, 2009. And it has not been discussed. It has been mentioned very clearly and categorically to the Congress people. This is a very sensitive issue of national security issue. And these are discussed with all the opposition leaders, even behind the closed doors. As far as discussing price rise is concerned, it was very clearly told to the opposition member, including the Congress leadership, you give a notice, follow the protocol. Morning hours in the parliament from 11 o'clock is actually the question hour. Now, he wanted the question hour to go on, and then after that, when the discussion session comes, under any rule or any this thing of short duration discussion or 193 or any other section, discussion was allowed. But it was Congress who rushed into the well of the House on during the last session on all days with placards and sloganeering and ultimately disrupting the House and wasting the money. No. Ms. Sushmita, please do not interrupt me. As far as other issues of putting a clause of inviting the President, I'm sure and I am aware of it that our Prime Minister has discussed this issue with the President of our country, the Vice President of our country, and a due diligence has been observed, and then the decision was taken for the Prime Minister to inaugurate this August building.
All right.
And
I think it's a question.
I am sure. With the level of
I'm running out of time. 30 seconds. Can you wrap it up?
Because
Dr. Roy, I've got your point.
Sushmita, quickly.
I just want to say, Vishnu, I have been hearing the BJP debating this for the last 3 days, and not a single spokesperson of the BJP has been able to give a logical reason why they have left the President of India out.
No, but Sushmita, he just said that there has been a process of diligence on the basis of which the President has been informed. I think Dr. Roy,
Absolutely.
Dr. Rajdeep Roy has made an interesting point. He says there's been a
Which is
process
what?
of diligence, the president has been informed and a decision has been taken.
Then what due diligence? Is this some legal purchase of land that you're doing a due diligence? President of India is the head of the
Legal
country.
purchase
holds
of
a
land does not
court
require due
custody.
diligence. There are a
You
lot of
have no
issues
logic.
which are controversial
You have no
and
logic.
sometimes require due
You have
diligence.
misused-
The
you have
inauguration
used
of the
President
parliament
Murmu
is one such
as a
issue,
tribal
and I am
place
sure the Prime
you.
Minister of our country has
You are
spoken
sure
about
means
it to
you're
the president
assuming, Dr.
before giving
Rajdeep
a
All
Roy.
right, everybody, let's bring
100%
the
sure about
tempers
it.
down. Let's bring the
You are
tempers down,
assuming.
everybody.
You have absolutely no credibility in your arguments.
Let's
You
just
are
wait
tongue-tied.
and let's be
You are
patient and
tongue-tied. You have no
let's not take
explanation.
personal pot shots. We've had a fairly civilized discussion. Let's leave it at that. And let's hope that Parliament is a forum where actual debate takes place. That's what it is built for, not the building, as Sushmita said, of bricks and mud or whatever it is. It is a house of conversation. Let it be that. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us, but I'm also joined at this stage by Mr. Surya Prakash, who is a member of the High Power Committee to oversee art installations and in the new Parliament House. Thanks very much for being with us. I think one of the most interesting stories, sir, which have emerged in the last couple of days is of the staff, which is going to be handed over to the Prime Minister, as it was in the past, from the British to Pandit Nehru. What is the significance of that?
The thing is that actually what happened was Lord Mountbatten asked Jawaharlal Nehru, what is that ritual that needs to be performed for handing over power? In fact, he said that the British have those rituals, which I think recently we have seen in the coronation of King Charles and so on. So Nehru said, I have no idea, I'll get back to you. He spoke to Rajaji. Rajaji knew that the Cholas had a tradition, and there was a mutt. There was a mutt in Tanjore. It is Tiruvavaduraturai mutt. This is the mutt. And they know this tradition. So Rajaji spoke to the head Swamiji, and they got the Umidi jewelers in Chennai to make the scepter, and then they sent, by a special flight, they sent the second in command in that mutt, along with the Nadaswaram and other people, to Delhi. And you know, this happened just a little while before Nehru hoisted the national flag, and then he had his Tryst with Destiny speech in the Central Hall of Parliament. So the priests went there, and they went in a procession in this Nadaswaram and so on. First, it was given to Mountbatten, and the priest took it back and then sanctified it, took it to Nehru, and with the blessings and Ganga Jal and whatever, it was handed over to him. And they also have a special prayer which was written by a poet in the 7th century,
Right.
saint. So that was recited. All this happened in 17 York Road.
And
which
is that
now
going to be repeated in
Mahatma-
some way,
which
shape
is
or
now,
form this
pardon?
time around? Is it going to be, is a part of the ceremony, the process of sanctification, is that going to be continued as part of the ceremony on Sunday? Has it already been done?
I do not have details of that. But what I can say is that this scepter will be brought and given to the Prime Minister. He will take it and give it to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and it is going to be placed just next to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, which is where I think it ought to be.
Right.
Because it is a dharma danda, as you call it. And it's a very important event that happened just a little while before Nehru went to the Central Hall of Parliament for that memorable speech. But unfortunately, this was never acknowledged that all this happened. And this was Rajaji's idea, and Nehru asked him, and Nehru complied with all that. In fact, I have with me Dominic Lepere and Larry Collins, their book, it's called Freedom at Midnight. In fact, Lepre gave me a copy of this book actually.
Yes.
In 1976, when I interviewed him in Bangalore. I'll read out a para from this. This will explain exactly what happened and Nehru's dilemma as to why India did not know about this. This will be explained by what Lepre says. They sprinkled Jawaharlal Nehru with holy water, smeared his forehead with sacred ash, laid their scepter on his arms, and draped him in the cloth of God. To the man who had never ceased to proclaim the horror the word religion inspired in him, their rite was a tiresome manifestation of all he deplored in his nation. Yet he submitted to it with utmost cheerful humility.
Right.
It was as if that proud rationalist had instinctively understood that in the awesome tasks awaiting him, no possible source of aid, not even the occult he so scornfully dismissed, was to be totally ignored. This is Dominic Lepre. He explains that they came in.
That's absolutely fascinating, sir, and it's just such a wonderful insight into our history and and that time. But it is going to be fascinating, isn't it? On Sunday, a new Parliament
It will
House.
be, and
we are alive and kicking to be at a time when there is the birth of a new Parliament of India. And
I must also tell you,
for many generations. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm just interrupting you because I'm out of time. But let's look forward to what happens on Sunday, and let's hope that this is a house of conversation and of meaningful debate. We'll leave it there from all of us here.